Welcome back. It's now week 2 of the Inclusive Classroom Back to School Challenge. It was amazing to read all of your comments last week and see how you're starting to plan your classroom setup for the new term. Obviously, there are lots more things we can do to improve our classroom once the term has begun and we get to know our students a little better. Figuring out what works best for different learners can take some time, so try to pay attention to all the things we discussed last week, especially during the first few weeks of term. When you notice any issues, see whether they can be solved by making adaptations to your classroom. If you remember, the 4 values I've chosen for this challenge are belonging, adapting, community, and kindness. Adaptation and flexibility is a really important one, and we need to be open to making adaptations whenever necessary. But on to today's topic, systems and routines. We all know how important routines are with very young learners, but they're actually just as important with older children and particularly neurodivergent students. Systems and routines help us know what to expect, either because the same thing always happens or because of a system that tells us what will happen next. For autistic learners, systems and routines are essential, but they're also helpful for all students. Systems are those things that we need to ensure that everything runs as smoothly as possible. I know it's not always realistic in the young learner classroom. You might have a system for entering the classroom or for handing in homework. You also might have a system for delegating responsibilities such as class helpers. Systems mean that students know what they should do and when. Without them, a lesson can sometimes turn into chaos. It's important to make the systems very clear on the first day or in the first week at least. And it's also necessary to keep reminding students of these systems until it becomes second nature. So today's task asks you to think about what systems and routines you use and those you could introduce. As always, think back to the 4 values. We can have systems in place, but we also need to use them with flexibility and kindness. And also try to use your ideas from last week to think about how the physical classroom can support these systems. For example, if you want students to take off their coats when they come into the classroom, where do they put them? Where do they put their bags? When do they take out their things? Will everybody be able to move at the same time during a transition? Where do they write new vocabulary? These may seem like tiny, simple things, but they actually make a big difference to how smoothly a lesson goes and the learner's experience of it. And they can also make a big difference in productivity. A lesson which is delayed by 5 minutes because one student forgot to take out their pencil case may mean that you end up rushing through an activity in order to get it finished. For some learners, this can be extremely stressful, and it also reduces the likelihood that they will finish because they may have a different speed of processing or they may have time management issues. Not finishing something can bring out incredibly negative emotions in some children. Try turning off the TV in the middle of their favourite programme and you'll soon see. When you have a system in place, it eliminates the lack of fairness that may occur when you don't have a system. It helps create a safe environment where the children feel secure. Routines may be things you do regularly, but not every lesson. I doubt you follow the exact same procedure every lesson, unless you're a preschool teacher. Different lessons may be planned in different ways. You may have a routine for starting the lesson, for example, a review activity or circle time. You might have a routine for teaching vocabulary, for example, first presenting it with flashcards and then drilling it. For me, the key is ensuring that students know what they will be doing and there won't be any nasty surprises. Like, now we're going to do some writing, which cues a class full of groans. One option is to have a lesson menu on display with the different activities you'll be doing in order. For primary, I recommend making this visual with pictures rather than text. You can use a felt board and stick Velcro stickers on the back of the pictures to move them each lesson for a long-lasting, sustainable option. Or if you have a whiteboard, magnets are great for this. To sum up, systems and routines make the classroom experience better for everyone, you included. So let's look at the systems that you have and explore how well they're working. Let's look at this week's task. Think about your lesson from the moment the children arrive at the door until they leave the classroom. What systems do you have in place? Are there any missing systems? Do students know what to expect at different stages of the lesson? How do you deal with transitions from one activity to another? How can you provide support to assist with transitions, for example, visual or audio cues? As always, write your reflections somewhere in a notebook, on your phone, maybe even as a voice message or a video. And then for the plan, I want you to choose one system or routine that you would like to introduce this year. What is the objective of this system? And be as specific as you can. What steps does the procedure have? Break it down if possible. How will you teach your students this system? And what problems do you foresee, if any? How can you preempt these problems? Share your plans with us in the comments below, and I promise I'll reply to all of your comments. And I'll see you next week.